Hey guys, it's Joy here, and I have a fun Christmas card for you today for my Handmade Christmas Series. We're using the embossing folder and cutting die Country Church from Simon Says Stamp. So here's that fun embossing folder from Simon Says Stamp, and there's the coordinating dies. And I have a piece of watercolor cardstock inside. I'm going to run that through the die cut machine, and then when it comes out, you're going to see this beautiful 3D image, you guys. It is gorgeous. Now, I did watercolor cardstock because I'm going to be using some Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers. I'm also die cutting the little add-on pieces, and I say add-on pieces, but it's part of the roof and stuff like that. But you don't actually have to use them, but I did. I am die cutting those from watercolor cardstock as well. As soon as I saw this, I just thought this is a perfect image to color with some Zig markers and to kind of give it that watercolor look, and I don't know, it's just so pretty. So I have a lot of coloring on here, you guys, so I really hope that you enjoy it. I did speed it up fairly quick, not too quick because the video is still a little bit long. So I'm starting with my little pieces. So you have your roofline pieces. I'm going to color all of those in black. I did look up like old country churches online, like what color do they tend to be? They really do tend to be white. Usually I think I saw with like a wood roof, but I opted for black to just kind of modernize it just a little bit. We are going to do a wood door, a wood colored door. So this image has snow, it has the church with a bell, it has the stairs, it has 2 pine trees, a fence. Yeah, it is such a darling image. I am so in love with this. It is so cute. So let's get coloring on this. I will be using light gray to kind of keep the church white, but I want to add some shadow areas under the eaves, under like the hanging snow, icicles on the edges of the church. I just felt like you just needed a little something so you didn't leave it blank. You know what I mean? So that light gray is what I'm using there. If you guys have, you know, a lot of you guys have watched me, if you're new to watching me, when I color with Zigs, I usually just use one color and then blend it out with water to give me the darker areas and the lighter areas. So I have a little bowl of water. I have my paper towel and my paintbrush. I actually use a water brush pen, but I don't have it full of water. And I say this all the time, but I don't feel like I control the water enough. So I don't fill it up with water. I just don't have any other paintbrushes, so that's why I use them. But I dip my brush in water. I just gently tap it off on my paper towel. Hold on really quick. This is ochre, which is a perfect gold color if you need a gold color when you're coloring this. So I'm coloring that bell, that ochre color, and isn't it so cute? Oh my gosh, I love it. So then I touch my paper towel with the paintbrush just to get off a lot of the excess water, and then I put my paintbrush to the color and blend it out. I am using yellow for inside of the windows, and I'm going to kind of be all over the place on this because there's certain areas I want to dry before I add another color. So I want this yellow to dry a little bit before I add the black to it because I'm going to add black for the window frames, which I think is really stunning. Then we have, what color is this? This is mid brown for the door. I wanted this to feel like a wood door, so I'm going to color that, but I am going to add black around the outside of it like it's the black frame around the door. I love that these are arched. Like I wish my house had arches inside and arched windows. Like that is my favorite. And I'm like, how can we do that in my house? I'm pretty sure my husband would kill me, but I would love it. So I just love that on this little cute little country old church. So I am being ultra careful, especially with like black. I am not putting it on thick. So if you'll notice, a lot of my lines will be fairly thin because of course it's black, it's very saturated, so that color is going to go everywhere. So I would say you have to take caution when coloring this, especially because some of these raised areas are really thin and you don't want to overdo. So I'm being really careful with how thick my lines are with those darker colors. Then for the stairway, I wanted this to be kind of a grayish blue, so I used blue gray. Makes sense, right? So you have these great little concrete steps going up to the church, and I'm just again blending that out with my water. Then now that that yellow has dried, and here's what I'm talking about, really thin lines, I'm going to go around this window frame. And it was really crooked, you guys. I was like, oh Lord, what'd I do? But once I was able to blend it out with a little bit of water, it really kind of straightened it out because I struggled. And then right here, you can see I blended a little bit thick, but I just took a little bit of extra water and kind of blended it out. The one good thing working in my favor on that is that I did use that light gray. And so I thought, you know, once that dries a little more, I'll add a little more water to it. It'll blend it out. It'll look like I added that light gray to it. So, and it did work out really, really good. Here's more of that frame on that other window. Again, being really careful to not make such a thick line. When you blend it out, it is going to be a little thicker, but I actually think it looks good and it straightens it out. Isn't that so fun? I really was debating on if I wanted to color this church a whole other color, but I'm really glad I left it white because it really is super sweet. Then for the pine trees on either side, I am just using green, just the regular old green, and blending it out. I'm adding the green on the underside of the little branches where the branches would be. So like almost the debossed, even though this is the 3D embossing folder, the little recessed areas under the trees or under the stems and stuff, that's where I'm adding the color and then blending out from there. I hope that makes sense. Because today my brain is on slow and yeah, a lot of words are not coming to my mind right now. This tree needed to be a little bit darker, so I add a little bit more of that green. And then, so this whole thing, we're going to color the whole thing with these zig markers, the background and everything. And it really turned out great. So when I talked about kind of adding a little modern touch to this, I was trying to decide, do we want a wood fence? Because it is a little old country church, but I opted to go with a black fence just to kind of modernize it a little bit. I'm not sure why I went that way, but that's how I felt I was led. So a little bit of black, again, being careful with that black because I don't want it to go everywhere. That would be a nightmare. And then coloring on top of this. Now, you will notice on some of this, you can see some of the white behind the fence, especially when I put the blue sky background on it. I personally don't mind that because I want this to kind of, I don't even know what look that would be, but it's not perfect, but that's what I like about it. So I'm not worried that there's a little bit of white showing behind the fence areas because it is a 3D embossing folder, and was kind of terrified if I went on all the way on the sides, I was going to blend out and make a huge mess. So I didn't. Okay, so for the little snow drifts in front of the church, I am using light blue. And for the snow on the eave of the house, that is light blue as well. And then I'm going to add that light blue at the bottom here. Even though we are trimming this down, this is bigger than an A2 sized. But I wanted to be able to just color what I wanted to color, and then I can trim it down to an A2 size when I was finished. It was just too long, not wide. Then we have, this is Persian blue. And I want a really kind of a nighttime sky scene. So I am just going next to the church, adding the color and blending out from there. I will say that this is usually how I tend to color. I think it showed up a little bit weird and I kind of had to work at it off camera to get the blue halo, not so blue halo around the church, especially on the left side. For some reason, I just struggled with it, but it ended up looking really, really good. So I just added that color, blended it out. What I did to correct it was I added that marker to my work surface, added just the tiniest bit of water, and then just would blend it out. And it really kind of evened everything out. So now it doesn't look like I have this crazy halo behind the church. I don't mind a little bit, but it was looking funky. So it definitely got better. So there is that background. You can see the bottom has the little icy snow. I decided to add a little bit of black there and on these little parts of the eaves of the church. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do with that, but the black turned out really, really nice. I do need to add some of that Persian blue behind the bell, so it looks like that part is see-through. So I'm going to do that here in just a second, just kind of fixing some of the background. And then we're going to add some snowflakes to this, you guys. And I'll be honest, I did have a little boo-boo with that, but I was able to fix it. And I think I know it's because this was a 3D thing, and I probably should have used a different like stencil paste. I used some Cloud Whip from scrapbook.com, which I really love, you guys, and it really is a good product. I just think it wasn't the right one for this. I should have used grit paste is what I should have used. I think I would have had a little bit of a better effect, but it really wasn't the end of the world, and I was able to fix it. And for some reason I was struggling with putting on the roof there. I'm not sure why. So let's put those in place. We can put the roof on the little steeple. And then all this whole little church comes together. Look at how cute that is, you guys. I'm so in love with this embossing folder. It is so, so awesome. I'm just adding that blue behind the bell. That way it looks like it's see-through. And it's going through to the night sky. Then let's add those last little snow drifts at the bottom. And then, like I said, I'm going to trim this down, and then we can get to that stenciling. But I hoped you guys liked the process of this little country church coming together, because I think it turned out super cute. So I am using the Greetery's Frosty Flakes stencil. Now, again, because this was 3D, my stencil isn't laying flat. So some of this kind of blobbed out. And again, I think because the Cloud Whip is just a little bit thinner than like the grit paste, I think I should have, now I don't know 100% for sure if it would have worked better, but I feel like it would. But I was able to fix it. So some of the couple of little snowflakes, like that big one there, kind of blobbed a little bit, but I just used my tool-in-one, just a sharp tool, and kind of cleaned up in between the little snowflake arms, and then it turned out fine. This is going to look white when I peel it back, but you guys, it's going to soak up that color in the background and kind of turn a little bit blue, because that's what the background is. So see, by that steeple, you can see it blobbed a little bit, but again, off camera, I just was able to fix that with my tool-in-one and kind of cleaned up those edges. Then I have my sentiment from Tailored Expressions Simple Strips Christmas. It says "Walking in a Winter Wonderland," which I thought was really cute. And we're going to place that with some foam tape up at the top. And then I can adhere this to a white A2 size card base. But look at how cute that is. I love the snow over the front, and this embossing folder was a blast. Thank you guys so very much for stopping by and watching. I hope that you enjoyed this project and have a really awesome day. Bye.